Hey guys, it's Sekaar, and today we're going to be going over my Nightblade build for update 40. This is the first build that I've really used for my Nightblade, and honestly, I really like it. It was hitting really hard, the survivability was nice, the sustain was a little rough, but honestly, if you just focus on making sure that you're not running out of resources by heavy attacking every once in a while, you're just going to do fine with this. The amount of damage on this thing has been absolutely bonkers, and I really like the build, and that's really all I have to say about that. It's just a fun build to do. So one last thing before we get started, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do that. We're about to hit 7,000 subscribers, so guys, thank you guys so much for subbing. I really appreciate that. If you guys could just do that, take these 2 seconds to do that, it would mean the world to me. But guys, without further ado, let's get started. First things first, our character sheet. We're going to be a Khajiit on our Nightblade. We always are, because Khajiit is best in slot for Nightblade. Nightblade, you get such high crit damage that it is just it's so useful to use Khajiit. It just goes hand in hand in my opinion. So moving on to our attributes, we're going to have 25 points into magic, 16 points into health, and 23 points into stamina to give us a max magic pool of 22k, a max health pool of 31.8k, and a max stam pool of 19k. And then our Mundus is going to be the Shadow to increase our critical damage and healing by 13%. Also, we're going to be using Jewels of Mizrael as our food. It's going to increase our max health and our stamina and magic recovery. And then also, we're going to be Vampire Stage 3. Do not ever sleep on this. Vampire Stage 3 is huge for your overall tankiness. That Undeath passive is massive for your overall tankiness. The lower health you are, the less damage you take. I'll take that any day of the week. Moving on to our gear, our monster set, we're a Nightblade, we're going to be using Balorg. It goes hand in hand as well. We're going to be using a heavy reinforced helmet and a medium divine shoulder with both prismatic glyphs on it. Balorg gives you a line of weapon and spell damage. Then also, when you use an ultimate ability, you're going to gain weapon and spell damage equal to the amount of total ultimate consumed. So if you use ultimate when you have 200, you're going to get 200 weapon and spell damage. So it's really that simple. It's awesome. I really like it overall. It increases your damage. And then on top of that, you're also going to get physical and spell penetration equal to 23 times the amount as well. So it'd be, say, same thing with 200. If you do 200 times 23, that's how much extra pen you get. So that's awesome. The extra damage that you get from ulting is huge. And honestly, I just really like it overall. Our front bar set is going to be Shattered Fate. We're just going to be using the 5-piece on it. It's a 5, 10, and 12 piece. We're not using the 10 and 12 piece. We're only using 5 pieces. And it's going to give us 7,918 offensive penetration. And that is massive. That is so much pen right there. It's been one of my favorite sets since they added it into the game. And honestly, I just love it so much. Using that 5-piece is huge for your overall damage. So we're going to be using a heavy Shattered Fate reinforced chest piece. We're also going to be using a heavy Shattered Fate legs in reinforced as well. And then also we're going to be using medium bracers of the trainee in divines. That way we have that 1 extra slot, increases our max health as much as possible. We're also going to be using Rallying Cry as our back bar set. So it's going to be light divines Rallying Cry. So it's going to be back bar. And again, this is going to give you a line of crit chance, max magic, crit chance again. And when Battle Spirit is active, critically healing yourself or an ally is going to cause you to gain 300 weapon and spell damage. And then also 1650 crit resist for 20 seconds. So that's why we're not using any impen on here, because we're already getting a bunch of crit resist from this. So make sure that you have this and then you're just using this. This is one of the absolute best and most meta sets right now. This whole setup is very meta. It's not really like I went too outside the box. I know that not everybody's using Shattered Fate right now, and I've kind of been putting on everything, but it's just a lot of fun, and I really enjoy this build. I enjoy the way it's been going, so I just wanted to show it off for you guys. So again, Rallying Cry, Light Sash, Divines. Then our last body piece is going to be Shattered Fate legs, or feet, in medium well fitted. We're also going to be using an infused Rallying Cry necklace with a weapon and spell damage enchantment on it, and also an infused Rallying Cry ring with a weapon and spell damage enchantment on it. I've been liking infused a lot more than Bloodthirsty lately. I just feel like it just helps my overall damage and healing so much more. I really haven't been on board the Bloodthirsty train lately, and I think I'm getting back on the infused train. I just like it so much better personally. Then our Mythic is going to be Death Dealers within the infused trait with a weapon spell damage glyph on it as well. So Death Dealers is going to increase our max health, stam, and magic the longer we're in combat by up to, I think it's about 2800. So all of our stats are going to be, all our max magic, our max stam, and our max health is all going to be increased by about 2800 on this, and that's really helpful. That really helps your overall tankiness. It gives you a lot of extra room to work with both your sustain, and on top of that, it just makes you a little bit beefier, and I just like this a lot. I've been using this a lot more than Markin lately, and I think that I'm kind of off the Markin train for the most part as well. I just like death dealers a lot more. Increases your max health, and you're just a lot tankier that way. And then we're going to be using Shattered Fate Axes dual wield. We're going to be using a main hand Nirnhone with a shock damage enchantment on it. And our offhand is going to be sharpened with your flame damage enchantment on it. I've been going with axes lately. I put this together and I really like it. Increases our critical damage more now that we're using axes. And I really feel like we didn't need any more pen on this build since we're using Shattered Fate already. As you can see, our pen is at 14.1k, just resting, and that's before Balrog even procs. So I just felt like we could just use the axes instead to increase our overall critical damage, and I was right. It increases our damage so much more, and I just like it a lot. And then moving on, we're going to be using Rallying Cry Ice Staff as our back bar in the defending trait with a Magic Restore glyph on it as well. Moving on to our skills, our main spammable is going to be Concealed Weapon. This ability is hitting really hard. You get so many different abilities in one with this. Just by having it slotted, you get Minor Expedition. Also, if you strike an enemy from the flank, you're going to set them off balance so you can stun them on command. And then also, when leaving a sneak, invisibility, or cast Concealed Weapon while they know the effects of Major Expedition, so that's huge. You have Major Expedition a lot on this build. You're going to get Major Berserk for 10 seconds, so it's going to increase your damage jump by 10%. So try and make sure that you line up your Concealed Weapon before your burst, and you're going to hit a lot harder. We're also going to be using Shadowy Disguise. This is what makes us invisible. And then also, since the patch in June, they changed it so that you get Major Prophecy and Savagery on both bars just by having this slotted. So it's going to increase our weapon crit by 2600. That's huge for your overall damage. That's awesome. You can a lot of people were talking to me today, and they're like, hey, why aren't you using Camel Hunter? This is why. Because you already get Major Prophecy and Savagery. So that is awesome. Helps your overall damage. And then Power Extraction is going to be a nice little AoE that we have, but more importantly, we're going to get Major Brutality and Sorcery, so it's going to increase our weapon and spell damage by 20%. We're also going to get Minor Courage, so that's going to increase our weapon and spell damage by 215 as well. So make sure you're using Power Extraction, not the other morph, because it's going to give you so much more damage. And make sure you have this up at all times, because this is going to have your damage a lot higher. Lotus, whoa. Oh, sorry. I was using a different build. Sorry. I was using before I was recording this video, I was using a Rush of Agony build. Sorry. So our next ability is going to be Killer's Blade. This is going to be our execute on this build. This is going to be what you're going to use when your enemies are at lower health to secure that kill and make sure that you just secure the kill. Do not use this when they're at full health, because you're going to do absolutely negative damage. And I just like this morph a little bit better than the other one. I know it hits a lot harder, and the other one has a lot more of a range, but this is just hitting so much harder, and I just really recommend using this one. And then Merciless Resolve. This ability is the most overperforming ability in the game, in my opinion, and you're hitting so unbelievably hard. By getting those 5 stacks, they changed it as well so that you don't need to actually activate this to actually start gaining stacks. You can get it on both bars, and you can just get as many stacks as you want, and then just boom, take somebody's health away just by activating this ability. It is insane, and I just really feel like this ability needs to be changed at some time in the future, but I don't know, man. Who knows what ZeniMax is up to. This ability hits so unbelievably hard. And then I've been using Soul Tether because I've been getting Zerg down a lot. Soul Tether is really strong. You get more ultimate as well, just for using the base form of it for your Balrog. And it's a nice little AoE as well. It doesn't hit quite as hard as Incap, but it's a nice little AoE, and you get a nice little stun on everybody, so it kind of takes a lot of pressure off you, and you get to heal a lot as well. So I've been using this a lot, especially if you're in group play. If you're in like a 2vx, 3vx kind of situation, I like Soul Tether a lot more. Maybe if you're solo, run Incap, but it's all down to personal preference. They're both really good ultimates, and this one I've just been using because I was getting hardcore Zerg down earlier, and using this is a really good way to just make sure that you're stunning everybody in sight, getting a nice heal, and maybe you could secure a kill or two, you know, who knows. And then back bar, we're going to be using Phantasmal Escape. This is going to be your source of major evasion, so it's going to reduce your damage taken from AoEs by 20%. Also, this is going to be your snare removal, so activating this ability is going to remove all snares and immobilization for you for 4 seconds. Also, while active, taking direct damage reduces the cost of your next roll dodge by 10%, up to a maximum of 100%. So basically, if you just take enough direct damage after a little bit, you just get a free roll dodge. So that's huge for your overall sustain. And then Refreshing Path, this ability is a lot of things in one, so I'll go over it one at a time. This is going to give you Major Expedition, so that's going to help proc your Major Berserk on your concealed weapon on your front bar, like I said earlier. It's also going to give your Minor Endurance and Minor Intellect, so it's going to increase your stamina and magic recovery by 15%. That is huge. Please keep that in your mind at all times when you're using this build. Your recovery is a little bit on the lower side, but using Refreshing Path, please make sure that you're using that because that's going to increase your recovery by 15%. Also, it's going to heal you every second that you're in there. So please don't forget to use that because that's going to proc your Rallying Cry very often, and it's also just a really good heal over time. And then Resolving Vigor, this is going to be a nice 5-second heal over time, so it's going to help you get right back up to full health. Between Resolving Vigor and Refreshing Path, they're both two really nice heals to stack on top of one another, so please do not forget to activate those. Also, on top of that, you're going to get Minor Resolve, so it's going to increase your physical and spell resistance by 3k. And then Healthy Offering, this is going to be your burst heal. I've been hitting upwards of 18k Healthy Offerings when I'm just in the middle of a fight. When they crit nicely, and it is awesome. We've got some really nice crit on this build, and overall, it's a great burst heal to have. And then Ellie's Susceptibility. This is going to be your source of major breach on your enemies. So this is going to reduce your enemy's physical and spell resistance by 6k. Then also you're going to be applying the burning, chilled, and concussion status effects to your enemy every 7.5 seconds. So that's huge for your overall damage on your enemies. That's another thing that I'm really happy about with the Shadowy Disguise buff. So you get Major Prophecy and Savagery just by having this slotted. So that frees up a slot on Nightblade since we don't need Camo Hunter anymore. And I put Ellie's Susceptibility on, and overall, your damage is so much higher because of it now. And then also Temporal Guard. The only reason why we have this on our bar is because you get minor protection, so it's going to reduce your damage taken by 5%. So that's really good for your overall tankiness when you're on your back bar. And then finally, our champion points, our blue slottables are going to be Focus Mending, Wrathful Strikes, Untamed Aggression, and Fighting Finesse. Our red slottables are Pain's Refuge, Sustained by Suffering, Celerity, and Survival Instincts. And our green tree, the only thing we really care about are Breakfall, Rationer, and Liquid Efficiency. And that is really the entire build, guys. Also, I'm using tripods as well. So these are going to give you health, magic, and stand back, and also going to give you major intellect and major endurance. So it's going to increase your stam and magic recovery by 30% as well. Please do not forget to use these. That's helping your overall recovery so much. Please do not forget that. That is insane for your sustain as well. And it'd be really tough to sustain without them, in my opinion. But guys, that is the entire build. I really hope that you guys enjoyed. I really liked putting this build together. It was a lot of fun. I'm probably going to continue to use it even after this video is done with because it's just a fun build. So I hope that you guys enjoyed. If you do, please, once again, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do not forget to do that. It takes 2 seconds. Please click that link. We're about to hit 7,000 subscribers, and I would just highly appreciate getting there as soon as possible. It'd be really awesome. Also, liking the video helps really, it helps me a lot in the algorithm as well. So please subscribe, like, you know how it is. Also, if you like this build, comment something saying, hey man, I like the build, or hey man, I don't like the build. Either way, commenting helps me so much in the algorithm as well. So please don't forget to do all that. I would highly appreciate it. If you want to see builds like this live in action, you can catch me live at twitch.tv/Sekaar, where I stream 5 days a week. And it would really mean a lot to me if you guys stop by. It'd be awesome. I'd love to see every single person. Whenever somebody stops from YouTube, it always makes my day. And it's always really cool. So guys, I've talked to you guys' ear off for the past almost 15 minutes now. I'm going to stop. I'm just going to get onto the footage for this build. I really hope that you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching to the end, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Later.